The brain-mind connection is tricky because we know that if you damage certain parts of your brain, your mind, certain parts of what we would call mental functioning will simply cease to exist. If you have a stroke in Broca's area of your brain, then you will struggle to generate speech, perhaps coordinate basic movements, or rather maybe plan for basic movements. There's a tight connection between many of our functions and the brain. But as the functions get more complex, we start to, this is where we sort of lose the connection, the tractability, and we start to wonder if there's something more ethereal to consciousness, right? So, something that is not mechanistic, or something that is not even calculable. It's hard because take something like awareness. Where is this happening in your brain? Right? It's not very localizable. Something like awareness, we linguistically define it as one thing, right? Awareness. We talk about awareness like we talk about vision, like we talk about arm movement. But obviously, awareness is something that's much more complex. So it's actually not one thing, right? It's many things. Something like awareness is really an amalgam of much data coming in from all your different senses, data coming in from memory, data coming in from your voluntary or involuntary prospection, right? The future, intimations of the future tumble into our awareness, and recollections of the past also careen into consciousness, into our conscious awareness, without us even trying. But all of these complex things like awareness, right? The essence of consciousness is not happening in one part of your brain. It's happening across multiple networks and subnetworks. So we're tempted to suggest that these higher level functions of consciousness are related to something that is not in the brain, something that's super brain, right? It's in the mental, immaterial portion of our dimension. And it's not something that we can really put our finger on. But I'll tell you my position, and this is just ultimately my intuition, but it is informed by the latest neuroscience, I would say. I think that all of our consciousness ultimately depends on the brain and comes from the brain. But that is not to say that mental activity and the mind is calculable. Right? There's a kind of chaos about complex systems that renders us unable to reduce them back to their component parts, right? This notion that the sum is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So when we talk about mental functions,